Well, hey folks, ever since I started sharing the success I'm having with the deep mulch gardening, as you can well imagine, lots of questions have come rolling in about the technique. Some folks are in disbelief that you can have such an abundant garden with such little work. I'm in disbelief with that as well. I grew up working in the garden with my dad, and then I spent most of my life working in the garden. And now I'm using a technique where the work begins at harvest time. Putting the plants in the soil in the beginning isn't any work at all. I don't even till the ground. I just part the mulch, put the seed or the plant in, close it up, give it a squirt of water. That is the only time I have watered this garden this year, and it's been a very, very dry summer. Never once in my life have I neglected a garden in such a way, but yet I've got the most abundant garden ever, and it just keeps getting better and better. So I'm going to take a moment just to explain a little bit, because I get a lot of questions. Folks are asking about the mulch, different types of mulch. I'll do the best that I can to answer those, and I'm just speaking from my own experiences so far. I'll take a peek at the garden here. Come home from the cabin here and the garden's gone nuts. Pumpkin plants way out here now. Pumpkin there, pumpkin there. Look at the pumpkins. Oh, look at the pumpkins. Look at them. That's nuts. Wow. Look at the tomatoes. Jeepers. You know, those are nice looking pumpkins. Those are great. Yeah, so I still get pumpkin there. There's a little one there. I just noticed there's one over here. Pumpkin there. I counted 9 a little while ago, but there was 2 more I just found. Yep, another pumpkin there. Guess the peppers need picking. There's a nice batch of tomatoes right there, and there'll be just as many ready to pick in a day or two. Time to get canning. So to touch base on some of the questions that have come in, folks ask, is this considered the back to Eden gardening method? It is, in a sense. The gentleman that come up with that back to Eden method covers his garden with wood chips that he gets from local tree service. I have not done that myself. The only wood chips that get deposited on my garden are from when I'm cutting my firewood. When I'm all done, I rake up all that bark and sawdust and tree fodder and rotted pieces of wood, and I throw it on the garden. I'm kind of treating my mulching process like I do my diet. And what I mean by that is, if all I ate was meat and a certain vegetable, my diet would probably be very high in certain nutrients but lacking in others. If all I ate was fish and a certain vegetable, same thing. But if I eat a well-rounded diet, my system is high in nutrients from one end of the spectrum to the other. If all I mulched with was wood chips, chances are it would be very high in certain nutrients and lacking in others. Same thing if all I used was hay and grass clippings. So what I'm doing here, I'm throwing old hay that I get from a farmer that's all moldy. Never had a problem with it. Works really good. Breaks down even faster. Every single time I mow the lawn, the grass clippings go on the lawn. Like I said, when I cut my firewood, I rake up all the pieces of bark, the sawdust, the rotted wood, etc. All that fodder goes on the garden. All my kitchen waste, potato peels, tomato stems, eggshells, you name it, goes on the garden. I feel that the soil is getting a large variety of nutrients that way, and the proof is in the pudding. What does the mulching do? Well, The mulch insulates the soil, and by doing that it keeps it from getting hard and cakey. The soil remains soft, which allows the root system to thrive. All this fodder here breaks down, fertilize the soil organically, so there's no need to spend any money on fertilizer. Also, by insulating the soil, it retains the moisture. I have no reason to water the garden so far. As all of this compost is breaking down, it attracts worms, and the worm castings are phenomenal for the garden. Not only that, when I rake up all the yard, I don't have to bag it up and put it on the street or take it to the landfill. It goes right on the garden. Some folks say that they don't have enough trees or whatever. In the fall, make arrangements with a neighbor. Give him some bags, have him bag up his leaves. You'll probably just be able to drive around the neighborhood and pick up bags of leaves. Dump them on the garden. I don't use all straight sawdust. I don't feel there's a lot of nutrients in it. If I do a project and I do have sawdust, I will disperse it on the garden, but I don't cover my whole garden in sawdust. I prefer not to use pine. It's too acidic. If there's pine needles mixed in when I rake the leaves, that's fine, but I don't go and rake beneath the pine trees. I mean, if you just look beneath the pine trees, stuff isn't growing very good beneath them. I take that as a sign. Four nice jack-o'-lanterns, and it looks like there's going to be 6 more to harvest. That's the best pumpkin crop I've ever had, and I only have 1 pumpkin plant out there. Some of those vines are about 40 feet long. Just incredible. If you followed my channel for a while, I'm sure it's pretty evident that I'm thrilled to death with this method of gardening. Because in the past, it was the same scenario over and over, where the seed catalogs would start coming in late winter, start planting the garden, get all excited with that anticipation. Then I'd start the seeds in my floating seed trays, which I showed in my previous videos, which I really like that method. Then you till the soil, you put the seeds in, you put your plants in, everything looks nice and pretty. But unfortunately, sometimes life gets in the way, you get busy with other things. The garden starts getting overtaken with weeds. If you had a dry summer, the soil gets hard and cakey. If you get too behind on things, it gets neglected for too long. Your harvest is minuscule. You start second guessing yourself and wonder if it's even worth it. Been there, done that too many times. Now that I've adopted this method, the harvest is getting better and better. There's no work involved. The work comes at harvest time. So I get the enjoyment of the planting, and then I do other stuff all summer long, and then wonderful harvest, and you can't beat it. If you think about it, this is much like the way it's done in nature. When man stepped in, complicated the whole process, spending money on tillers, fuel to till it, a bunch of work involved, stripped the garden of its natural nutrients. So now we're spending money on fertilizer, all kinds of chemicals in the garden. When I'm done with the garden and it's no longer producing, I mulch everything up with the lawnmower, and then I spread that all over the garden, and the garden itself fertilizes the soil for next year's crop.
Hey, that'll break down real nice now.
Just a wonderful process. So if you find my videos entertaining and beneficial, please share my channel with others and encourage them to subscribe. I'm a long ways from my goal. With your help, I can get there that much quicker. If you haven't tried this method, by all means give it a go. I'm certain you'll be glad you did. All the best to you, and God bless.